Maybe you've been curious about using Linux for audio production, but getting started seems daunting, difficult, or downright dangerous.
I tried to get on the internet on it, and that did not work.
Where do you even start? There are hundreds of different Linux distributions, every Linfluencer has their favorite, and they're not afraid to tell you it's the best. I'm Wesley from Linux Creative, and I hope to cut through the noise and show you just how easy it is to get started using Linux for audio production. I'll show you step by step the bare minimum tools you'll need to get started today, and help you get over any fears you have about switching over to Linux. I got some incredible feedback from my video about why I use Linux for audio production, and ultimately, I want to share just how simple this is. I started using Linux on an old laptop back in 2014. I made the same mistake I see a lot of newcomers making. I selected a Linux distribution based on cool points. It wasn't beginner friendly at all, and I had to edit a config file just to make my trackpad work. I've had multiple people ask me what Linux distro I run for music and video production, and I hate having to tell them I use Arch Linux. It's a bad place to start if your goal is to quickly get started doing creative work, and the Linux distribution you use doesn't impact much but the time it takes to get set up. I've been using Linux to do creative work in a professional capacity for almost a decade now, and I know nothing will kill your creativity quicker than having kernel or software problems or just failing on install. If you do web-based creative work though, learning to maintain a Linux system is a huge career advantage. Over 96% of servers run Linux, and for good reason. It can be super stable once you get things set up. I've been a musician since I was 9 years old, and I've been making music on computers since I was 13. I wanted to switch to Linux so badly when Windows 8 was released, but the last thing that kept me using Windows was my music software. I had to let go of thinking I could only create music with FL Studio and the same handful of plugins I'd been using since high school. I was deeply rooted in my workflow, but the shift in creative mindset from trying new software has been incredible for my creativity. I'm going to show you 3 different Linux distributions made for music production and help you decide which one you should install. I'll show you how to safely install Linux on your computer, talk about audio interfaces and MIDI devices on Linux, and highlight a few of the applications you'll probably use daily. By the end of this video, you'll be able to install and use Linux to make music. If I can do it, so can you. First, let's talk about what you need to get started. The main requirement, of course, is a computer. You can use a laptop or desktop computer. My recommendation for both ethical and practical reasons is that you stick to affordable, used business class computers. I've had great success with both Dell and Lenovo workstation laptops. Their components are well supported by the Linux kernel, and they're very affordable when buying them used or refurbished. They also tend to be somewhat serviceable, and you're saving a used piece of tech from the landfill, extending its life. While I personally own several Raspberry Pis and similar products, I can't recommend them to a beginner for audio production. This is mostly due to the fact that software availability on the ARM architecture isn't that great. Of course, this is always improving, but it's definitely not the best platform for audio production. Next, you might want an audio interface. You might already have one. If you're not recording microphones and instruments, you do not need one. Your integrated audio card should work just fine. Just get a decent pair of headphones to start out. I'm a huge fan of Sony MDR7506. They hit that sweet spot in value and quality, and you can find them online for as little as about $90 new. Since they're so affordable, do yourself a favor and buy some replacement ear cushions. These are notorious for crumbling to bits over time, but that's likely the only thing that will break on these. If you are in need of a USB audio interface, I have some simple tips for you to follow. First, here are the interfaces I personally use for Linux, and they all work fine. I'm currently using Motu M-series devices. I have an M2, M4, and M6. They all work well and have excellent signal-to-noise ratios. I've used a Behringer UMC 404 HD. It worked well, and I believe all the UMC line will work just fine. Years ago, I used a Focusrite Scarlett 2i4, and it performed flawlessly. Before that, I had an M-Audio Fast Track Pro, and it worked as well. Outside of my personal experience, here's what I suggest in finding an audio interface with good support on Linux. First, make sure the interface says it's USB class compliant. Class compliant USB sound cards should all work with Linux. Some devices have a switchable class compliant mode. Another thing you should look for is if the interface supports iPad or Android. If an audio interface is plug and play on iPad or Android, it should work on Linux as well. Lastly, search through reviews. Whether you use Amazon or not, search the review section of the audio interface you're interested in buying or already own for Linux. Make note of the dates of these reviews as well. This should give you a pretty clear indication of whether or not the device will work on Linux. Similar to audio cards, if you're buying a MIDI device such as a keyboard or mixing controller, you should make sure that it's USB class compliant. As with audio interfaces, do a quick web search. Find out if other users have tested this device on Linux. This is important. It'll save you time and money. I use an Arturia keystep, an Alesis VI25, a Pioneer DDJ SB3, audio also works on it, and a Syncell Morph. I like that the Syncell has configuration software for Linux. Look out for these things on product downloads and resource pages. Before I show you how to install Linux, here are the 3 distributions I recommend for audio production. AV Linux has been maintained by Glenn MacArthur since 2008. Based on MX Linux, it features the Enlightenment desktop and the Licorice Linux kernel, designed specifically for low latency video and audio work. Glenn has also created AVL drum kits, meticulously recorded and packaged as powerful, user-friendly plugins. In addition, he provides a large library of professional sound fonts and samples on the Sounds FTP section of his website. No matter what distro you choose, go check it out and drop him a donation if you find the tools he's created helpful. AV Linux includes custom tools for simplifying the setup and use of the new Pipewire backend for pro audio. It's also the only project on my list today that natively includes a tool for porting Windows VST plugins. If you want to be able to do that without installing additional software, AV Linux will be a great choice for you. Glenn demonstrates all the features of AV Linux in a long-form video embedded on his website. You can check it out for more in-depth information. I'm not a big fan of the look and feel of the Enlightenment desktop, so I would consider installing either KDE Plasma Desktop or XFCE as a matter of preference on this one. The Ubuntu Studio project has been around since 2007, making it the most mature Linux distribution aimed towards creatives. It's also packed with useful software at almost 7 GB in size. It ships with a low latency Linux kernel for enhanced stability during audio and video work, the KDE Plasma desktop, and offers utilities for configuring your system without hacking at the command line. Notably, they make switching between jack and Pipewire pretty straightforward. Ubuntu Studio offers the most polished and intentional experience for creatives on my list. I'm strongly considering switching back to Ubuntu from Arch after years since my time for software troubleshooting is a lot more limited with a baby in the household. Ubuntu Studio has everything you need to get started on Linux for audio, video, photography, and graphic design. As far as I can tell, the Fedora Labs project started in 2015 with both Jam and Design Suite being offered right out the bat. Since Jam is primarily focused at audio production, it's the smallest installation file of the 3 distros I'm mentioning. I've never personally used Fedora Jam, but I have used Fedora before installing the Pro Audio Group package. In my experience, Fedora worked well for audio production, but coverage for packaging for audio tools on Fedora isn't quite as good as it is for Debian or Ubuntu. For that reason, it's not my top recommendation, but I do like the direction of this project, their no-nonsense approach to including all the basics for audio, and if you already love Fedora, you can easily install a set of excellent audio production applications thanks to this project. All of these distributions offer a live medium install file. This means you can try them each out and decide for yourself which one will work best for you. I highly recommend it. You'll need a large USB drive if you're planning to test them all out. I have a 32 GB drive, so I'll show you how. Plug in your USB drive and head over to your distribution of choice's website. I'll put links in the description for each of the projects I mentioned. Download the ISO file. Repeat this for each distro you'd like to try. They're large files, so it might take a moment. While you're waiting for ISO files to download, go to vintoy.net and download the Vintoy installer. Again, I'll drop links in the description for everything I'm showing. Extract the files downloaded from the .zip. Next, plug in your USB drive. Run the Vintoy 2-disk installer and select your USB drive. Click Install and confirm you want to write Vintoy to your USB drive. Once the install finishes, you can simply copy any ISO file onto the drive and it'll be added to Vintoy's boot menu. If you'd like to keep Windows installed on your computer, you can open the disk manager and shrink your disk partition to make space for Linux. I'm not going to cover this, but you can find several videos about dual booting Linux and Windows. Follow these tutorials if you'd like to dual boot. If, like me, you'd rather not dual boot, simply save your Windows license key somewhere safe and back up any important files. To access your computer's boot menu, use the keyboard shortcut that's listed when your computer is booting. This is often F1, F2, F12, Delete, Escape, or Enter. Tap the appropriate key a few times to enter the boot menu. If you don't see a keyboard shortcut, consult your PC manufacturer for further information. Select the various options on the boot menu for Vintoy. This will boot your computer into the live operating system in the USB drive. All 3 Linux distros offer live environments, so if you've added more than one ISO file to Vintoy, you can try them all out on your computer without installing. Just exit the installers if they open and continue using the operating system just to test compatibility and preview the included software. This is a good time to plug in your audio interface and any MIDI devices if you have them. You can open up the sound settings to find your audio interface, and open Carla to see if your MIDI devices are picked up. Once you're ready to commit to installation, the process is largely the same across each distribution. You'll be prompted to select an installation location, choose the entire disk option unless you're dual booting. You'll also be prompted to set your keyboard layout, time zone, and create a username and password. You may have an option to bypass the login screen at boot as well. As a security measure, I never enable automatic login. Hey, you did it! Look at you on Linux. There are a handful of applications you'll probably frequently use. Ardour is the go-to option for digital audio workstation on Linux. It's included with every distribution, so you can get started right away with multi-track recording, MIDI arrangement, and loading your favorite plugins. You can, of course, install other DAWs if you'd like to. Both AV Linux and Ubuntu Studio offer helpful utility plugins for managing the Pipewire audio backend. Fedora Jam comes with QJack control. You'll want to get familiar with these so you can configure your audio interface for the correct sample rate and latency. I typically run my interface at 48 kHz and set the buffer, or quantum, to 512 or below. Typically, I don't need to go any lower than 128. Carla is a super useful tool for connecting audio and MIDI applications to one another and hosting plugins. You'll be using it frequently on any of the distributions that I mentioned. In 2020, when most workforces went fully remote, I often added both compression and EQ to my microphone for Zoom calls I had to attend. This is super easy to set up with Carla, and you might find a similar solution useful for live streaming. Last, I do want to mention YaBridge. If, like me, you came to Linux after making music on Windows for years, you probably have a large VST plugins folder. I highly recommend you take a look at this project so you can bring your beloved Windows VSTs with you to Linux. Let me know if you'd like to cover this tool in more detail in future videos. As always, keep creating, keep learning, and happy hacking.